I remember when there was a time I looked forward to coming home, excited to play a few games of ranked with friends or just climbing the ladder by myself. I don't know what's exactly changed since then, but the same feeling of excitement I felt before is now replaced with a feeling of emptiness and disinterest. What's going on, Proguides family? It's your host Sergeant Frost, and today we'll be talking about problems with the Valorant rank system. And while this may seem like a rant to some, I feel like the community can relate with me here when I say that ranked is not a fun experience. Recently, even popular pro players like Sick and Hiko have also voiced their concerns with the system. So I don't think it's an understatement to say that ranked is currently in one of its worst states it's ever been. So let's talk about why. The first major problem with ranked is the nature of agent team comps and insta-locking. Valorant sits in an interesting position in the FPS genre as a game that cares about team compositions, but is still guided mostly by aim and gunplay. Unlike Overwatch, each player still has the same amount of firepower for the most part, but unlike CSGO, each player has a different set of utility that only they can use. Because of this, team compositions still play a large role in how a team operates. As a baseline, certain agents are better for supportive roles, while others are better for aggressive roles. However, Valorant does not have a system that coordinates roles and agent classes for players to create team compositions. In games like League of Legends, the well-defined roles of the game allow for their rank system to include role designations, or better known as role queue. Additionally, in games like Overwatch, this same principle is relevant, although there has been some backlash for Blizzard's implementation of a role queue. Yet Overwatch has a better argument for a system that has no roles because people can change their heroes mid-game, unlike Valorant or League of Legends. So, because Valorant has no role designations but still places importance on team composition, we run into a big issue. But first, let's break it down logically. Because ranked games are often with random players that you'll most likely never play with again, coordination is not a large priority as working with teammates is not a primary goal, although it does contribute to a win. Because ranked gameplay is more or less uncoordinated, agents that have selfish abilities that can help themselves are stronger as players can rely on their own abilities much more to make things happen. As such, support agents are also less useful because they are unable to play around their abilities nearly as much. So, what agents are favored then? Let me answer that for you: duelists. Yet at the same time, team compositions do matter. So you can't just have a full team of duelists or you're going to have issues with overlapping roles. But because people want to solo carry to victory and can only rely on themselves, duelists feel necessary. So what happens? Well, people learn to play duelists more than the other agents. And when there's too many duelists on a team, then someone either has to swap or the team comp becomes considerably weaker. And then we either play with a first-time Omen or we all decide that a 4 duelist and 1 Sentinel composition is good enough and we go on our way to a swift defeat. At this point, maybe it's better to just dodge instead. This problem only gets worsened by players who do not want to fill for a team's compositional needs. Now we have insta-lock Jets, Reynas, and Razes with little to no chance of discussion or coordination even in agent select. I think you see where I'm going here. The system is currently flawed in the sense that insta-locking agents becomes commonplace, because all these factors just push a player to lock in a duelist if they want the highest chance to carry, even if they're hurting their team composition. Not doing so would mean that another player would probably insta-lock instead, which only makes the problem repeat itself over and over again. As much as I want to bash insta-lockers, I can see why some players just keep on insta-locking duelists. In some ways, it's the only way to climb. At the same time, however, it also hurts the team's chances if the composition is bad. There's just no good solution, so we're either stuck playing Phil or being the toxic insta-locker that desperately tries to carry. But just because insta-locking duelists is bad doesn't mean you shouldn't strive to learn how to become a spectacular duelist. Recently, we've teamed up with Europe's headshot machine, Scream from Team Liquid, to produce a course focused on how to maximize your impact as an explosive duelist. In this course, he'll show you how to control clutch situations, gain advantages in your duels, and utilize your team to succeed as an entry fragger. These areas of focus will give you the knowledge to not only have significantly more impact as a duelist, but how to better support your duelist to succeed as well. If this sounds like something that interests you, make sure to head over to ProGuides.com to take this opportunity to learn from Europe's best. The second major issue with ranked is a problem that has a long gaming history: Smurfs. The term smurfing gets thrown out a lot, but what does it actually mean and where does it come from? For those unfamiliar, it's time for a short gaming history lesson. The term originates from Warcraft 2, a real-time strategy game. Imagine you have to wait ages to find a game because you were very high elo and because you were known to be so good, people would either immediately dodge the game or intentionally not try. Well, 2 players known as Warp and Schlongor faced this exact dilemma. They created alternative accounts with the intention of playing against lower ranked opponents and often dumpstering them. These new accounts were called Papa Smurf and Smurfette, hence the term smurfing was born. We aren't talking about people who've D-ranked from Immortal to Diamond or Diamond to Plat. We are talking about people who actively get accounts with way lower ranks than their main. The higher you climb in rank, the less prevalent this problem is, but it's not to say it doesn't exist in Diamond or even Immortal. I have no idea what the situation is in Bronze or Silver, but if higher ranks already have these issues, then more than likely lower ranks are infested with people smurfing and ruining the ranked experience for others. The reason why smurfing is such an issue at lower ranks is that it hurts the competitive integrity of the matchmaking system. Playing against or with a player that is greatly above your skill level only devalues your time and effort in the game, as the better players who don't belong in your rank will heavily impact the result of the game. So that means if you're unlucky, you're going to get an enemy Smurf. But if you're lucky, you're going to get carried by the Smurf. But where's the competitive spirit in that? Although I firmly believe that to be the best you have to play against the best, smurfing doesn't help players improve on the other side of the equation. The player smurfing is just messing around and stomping weaker opponents, while the other players in the match find their efforts to be much less impactful to the end result. You could argue that the opponents get to play against a better player and see what they do, but when the player is way above their rank, it's just a one-sided affair where they learn next to nothing besides how oppressive Arena can be. While there's already mechanisms in the game to get smurf accounts to their real elo quicker, this seems like a band-aid solution rather than an actual fix to the problem. If a player plays exceptionally well, they gain bonus RR, effectively helping them rank up faster, meaning people smurfing gain more elo. But this doesn't prevent players from just making another smurf after they're too high rank for their liking, so the problem is a recurring one. Until Riot finds a way to fix this issue at the source, there will always be smurfs ruining competitive games. Before we cover the last issue that our current rank system has, let's lighten up the mood a little bit with our question of the day. Today's question is, what are some of your favorite aspects of Valorant lately? For me, I've been loving replication mode ever since its release, and it's been a real breath of fresh air to play a game mode that is meant to be nonsensical and relaxed. I also love all the lore that's been hinted at through the leaks and the videos, and I'm definitely looking forward to understanding more about Viper's backstory or Reyna's relationship with Killjoy. Let us know what you like about Valorant in the comment section down below, or what you don't like. Even if you need a place to vent, we're all a big family here. The final big issue with Ranked is solo queue versus stack queues. Solo queuing in Ranked is a daunting task, as you're trying to perform and navigate in a pug environment without having a teammate you know you can rely on. That's already stressful enough, but whenever you end up going against a 3Q or a 4Q that is running coordinated plays, you know that you're at a massive disadvantage. The reason why stacking is such a viable way to play Ranked is you are playing with people who you have experience with and can trust to coordinate with. More often than not, this leads to higher win rates, better personal performances, and better game results. Of course, this makes sense. In order to ensure you can consistently have positive results, it is very important to know that you have to have a controlled environment. In this case, the biggest variable is the quality of your teammates. By having 2 or 3 players that are consistently up to the standard that you can trust, you can minimize the randomness of your teammate quality in game. Another major advantage for queuing with the stack is you develop chemistry with these players, and you get to know where they like to play, their tendencies, and develop set plays that can catch the enemies off guard. Not only are you potentially the better team, you also have the potential for being better tactically, which is a huge advantage in Ranked. Additionally, you won't have team composition issues, since typically the differences are ironed out before the agent selection even begins. Riot have already implemented measures at Immortal and Diamond 3 to negate the huge advantages 3 or more people have when queuing together. But even then, some players also feel like this is an issue in itself because they want to play with more coordinated queues instead. And that's fair as well, as at higher ranks, coordination becomes an aspect of the game that is more interesting to players who want to reach the top. So what's the compromise? I think the situation we are currently in is unsustainable and unfair in most cases. One of the only ways for Riot to solve this is to add a solo-only queue and a separate queue for stacks. This will make it as random or as consistent as the player chooses, and would give players the option for which type of game they want to play. I'm sure we've all had days where we have just been demolished, losing games 13-3 left, right, and center with no clear reason why. Over the last few months, I've started to see a growing sentiment among people in the community. Many feel that the quality of your ranked games feels like a coin flip. You either get a good close game or you get blown out and never stood a chance. This shouldn't be the case. I'm sure we've all played games where they felt unwinnable from very early on, and that feeling never changes even if you still try your best. Whenever it happens, there's no point in tilting, it is what it is, as some would say. After all, you always have the next game to look forward to, so you can roll the dice again and see if you're lucky or not. But considering all these issues that we have in our rank system currently, it's hard to imagine a world where ranked is still somehow balanced despite smurfs, insta-locking, and stack queues tearing up lobbies. If anything, ranked games feeling like coin flips is probably to be expected, with how consistently inconsistent every game is due to all these external factors. While I think the ranking system is not the only one to blame for the coin flip nature of our games, it is still frustrating nonetheless. I can get games with 5 people communicating with good vibes all around, or no one saying a word and saying GG after losing the pistol round. It's hard to say what kind of games your teammates just came from, and that will surely affect the players' mentalities as they enter each game hoping to be in the winner's queue. But not all hope is lost just yet. The other night, Riot pushed an update that was designed to tighten matchmaking skill matchups. In simpler terms, it was designed to make games more balanced to try to put people in the lobby very close to each other's hidden MMR. Personally, I haven't seen the effects of this just yet, but at least Riot is trying to adjust how rank works so it's more enjoyable for us all. Let us know if you've seen a difference in your game's quality since. I'm afraid that this won't fix the broader issue that really drives the coin flippy nature of ranked, but at least it's a step in the right direction. As it stands, changes definitely need to be made to ranked so that it's fun and lives up to the competitive environment it promises. Ranked can't continue in its current form as it only hurts people playing it, and will continue to drive people away from ranked and potentially Valorant as a whole. Hopefully, with how many people who have been speaking up lately, we'll be able to see some much needed changes come in to fix our game. Anyways, that's all we have for this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, make sure to hit that bell notification icon, which ensures you stay up to date with the latest Valorant news, updates, and guides. As always, this has been your host, Sergeant Frost, and I will see you all in the next one.